Hello, I'm Luella, and I thought today I would talk about some stuff that I've thrifted and some things that I'm making, like I'm making some little hair clips out of denim offcuts. And also I'm going to try and start designing a denim bag out of scraps of denim. I've got a lot of scraps of denim, a lot. And some bigger pieces over here. Got this bigger piece because I've been making a lot of things out of denim and fraying them and stuff like that, and making a lot of little accessories, cuffs and wristbands and things like that. So I've got a lot of scraps left over, and so I thought I would love to make a really nice big bag of some sort, like a shoulder bag with a denim jeans looking, still the waistband perhaps there, or although I don't have any waistbands left, but anyway, and I might even go thrifting to the tip shop or something to look for some jeans that are just like pretty much jeans that I'm sure no one's going to wear because they're probably like a weird shape or something like that. And so cut them up and make them into something useful, like a denim bag. The other day I was about to go out somewhere, and I thought, oh, I wish I had a really cool, big, sort of chunky denim bag. And so I thought, well, I need to make one. And probably saw on my shorts videos, I did some little denim patches, and I thought maybe I will put one of them on the bag, or maybe even a few of them. I've got the snake one, which was really cute. I made with my Janome, just that special stitch with the Janome, and put some little eyes on him. Where's his eyes? Where's your eyes? There's his little eyes out of beads. So I could put that on a bag, maybe. And I had another one, a heart one. This was a heart. Just went a bit crazy with the heart with the sewing machine, just zigzag. So, and these are just on scrap bits of denim that I had, and I could turn them into maybe a pocket on the front or something. I've got so many scraps of not only denim but other scraps of fabric too, so I thought it's time to make something really big and functional. So, and this one's cute little rain design, just all stitched on my machine. So that's going to be a bag. I also was going to show you what I've thrifted. So I've thrifted heaps of things lately. It was just recently school holidays, and my brother came up and stayed with us, and myself and him and my daughter, we went thrifting, and op shopping, we call it op shopping here, and we bought so much stuff. It was amazing, so much clothes. My daughter needed some clothes, and of course I found stuff for myself. And so, but anyway, this was one of the things I bought for myself. It's cotton. I always like to go for a natural fiber, and this is a cotton printed one. It was kind of expensive for op shop. I have noticed people commenting about op shops being really expensive lately, but this was kind of, I think it was something like $12, which is a bit expensive for an op shop number. And anyway, but then I went op shopping again yesterday, and I've had luck, and I found a whole lot of other things, a bunch of other things that I've been looking for. And the first thing I found was this long denim jacket. It was $12, which is actually not bad, I don't think, for a thrifted denim jacket. And this is a long one, so I'll just show you. It's really long, And it's got a belt. It's got its original belt with buckle. And so I find these really flattering, these kind of jackets. And it's from the Denim company. And it's all cotton. I used to have a couple of these similar jackets, but the ones I used to have, they had elastane in them, and I don't really like the feel of denim and elastane. And so this one's pure cotton, all cotton, and I like that it's a dark denim, and it's got a bigger fit on the armhole as well. The ones I used to have were a bit tight around the armholes, and I felt it very restricting. And I find when I wear clothes that are a bit too tight, they sort of trigger off muscular pain, and I start getting pain in my shoulders, and then it works its way up into my head. So, and then I start getting a headache. So this one's nice and loose around the shoulder, and it's got this cute gathered cuff. So that's cute. And I also got these leggings, which normally leggings are very boring, but these ones are cotton and elastane, stretchy, and they got the green, and they got this cute floral. So I thought, oh, that's really cute. And actually they would look cute underneath this jacket. I think you wear them underneath like tights basically. So the two together. Or I have another pair of patterned leggings, which I used to have this long length red cardigan, and I used to wear that over these patterned leggings, and I loved that look. But I don't have the cardigan anymore because it was a bit synthetic now that we live up in a warmer climate, and so, but I could wear it with that jacket. Perfect. I also found this skirt, which I really love. It's cute and very pretty. The colours I love, which is the purple and the green. So it's got panels, and it's sort of a fine corduroy. So that's really nice. It's cotton as well, natural fibre. And then I found this skirt as well, which is like a denim, like a chambray. It's got a bit of elastic at the back and spots, and sort of like a gored skirt. So it's got this little flip at the bottom. So being lightweight denim like that, I really like that for up here where it gets quite warm, but you can still have that denim look. So that would go with anything pretty much. And I was wanting a scarf that, because most of my scarves are sort of purple because I like purple, and I was wanting a scarf that was sort of had some red in it, and also I wanted a dark coloured scarf, like a black or a blue or whatever. And so I found this one. I think someone knitted it, and it's acrylic, but it's a really soft acrylic. So I tried it on, made sure it doesn't itch my neck, because a lot of them can itch. This one's soft as, it doesn't itch at all. So this will go with a lot of things that I needed red for, like this new denim jacket. I tried this on in the op shop, and it looks good with that. And I think it was only $3. So that was great. And I then also went crazy and bought a whole lot of accessories, as well as this cute little cat. I believe it's a thing that you can put your rings on. You stand it up and put rings on it. And I remember these around years ago, and I always thought they were kind of cute. And so I couldn't resist that one. He was only $2. And he's heavy, he's metal, so he's really cute. I'm going to give him a clean. And then I found all these scrunchies, a lot of scrunchies. I washed them. I haven't yet, but yeah, I washed these and just use them. That's a denim one. It's still got its packaging on. And this one I really like. I'm thinking of trying to make one similar to this. It's kind of like a almost like a garter style one, like it's got the elastic in the center there, and then it's got edges, and it's got lace on the other side, so kind of like that. It's a bit different. I remember having one of these once years ago, so I might make one of those in different fabrics. This one's a little chiffon one, velvet. It's like a cherry colored velvet. Lovely, 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 lovely. These were mostly $2 each. This one is like a pink velvet, kind of like a stretch corduroy. And this one's a white velvet. So I'll give all those a wash. Also got this clip. It's cute. Kind of reminds me of chai pudding. And it's quite a nice strong one. That was $2. Chai pudding. And then this one, this was $2 as well. And it's got this beautiful pearl iridescent in it. It's lovely. And then this is a comb, black and white. It's a bit flexible. I like combs that they're not crispy, so they don't bust so easily. Made in Australia. Wow, it's got made in Australia on it. There was only one of them. It probably used to be a pair, but I couldn't find the other one. That was only 50 cents. So that's my op shopping that I did yesterday, so that was fun. And so the other thing, so I started to make these hair clips out of just little scraps of denim that I've cut into a star. I made a template first, and then I started cutting out little denim stars. And what I've done is I've got these clips that I bought a whole box of them from the op shop for $4. So I've got a whole box of them in here. And so I'm using these little clips. You could use any kind of clip really. And I use a little piece, a tiny, 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 tiny piece of ribbon, like these little narrow ribbons that you get off when you buy a top or a skirt or something. They have the ribbon on the shoulder, and so I just cut them off and keep them for making things. And so I've put a tiny little bit of that on the back, so that then when you put the clip through like that. And so now what I'm going to do is I've got a matching one to go over the top of that one. And I think I'll hand stitch it because I might machine it. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. And so I'm going to stitch around probably about 0.5, like half a centimeter around the edge. And then that'll allow it to fray a little bit. And then I've got this little star, which I'll put in the center. So I'm going to make a pair of those, and there will be little star clips. So yeah, please excuse this spot here. And I've got a few dressings on my neck. I went and had my mole check thing, and I got some burnt off, including one on my finger. Got several burnt off, one on my chest as well. Please go and get your skin checked, because the ones that I ended up having to have 3 biopsies, and they were actually things that I didn't even realize were moles or anything, and they've turned out to be basal cell carcinomas. And this one here on my temple, I just didn't know what it was. I didn't think of it as being anything really much, except it was annoying. It was like a pimple that just wouldn't heal. And then on my neck, it was like a pimple that just wouldn't heal. And then I thought, oh, it's just a mole. But no, it's turned into a basal cell carcinoma, which I have to get cut out next week. They did a biopsy on it. So I've got a few patches and burnt bits on my skin. My skin's very prone. It's not very well designed for the Australian climate, my skin. So I get it checked, and I'm going to get it checked now every year for dodgy things that turn up on it. So luckily I did that, So please go and do that too, even if you don't think you've got anything. Just get it done, because yeah, you don't want to find out too late. Anyway, so let's sew this little star, and I'll get you can follow along if you want to and see what I do. Okay, so I've got this I made a little template and folded in half so that it's the same on both sides. And I cut out 4 little denim stars. And like I said before, I hand sewed, just did it by hand, some little tiny bits of ribbon on there so that then I can put the clip through that little piece of ribbon. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just put the 2 pieces of star together like that, and then I think I will do it by hand, because if some people might be watching this and they might like to make them and they don't have a sewing machine, so I'm going to just do like a little hand sew around there. I think I'll use white thread too, because I'm planning on putting a little white star in the center of the denim star once I'm finished. And also I'm going to, as I'm sewing it, I'm going to put in some teeny tiny little scraps of denim, like a stuffing. So I made these little scraps. Hang on, let's not cut up our stars. So I made these little denim scraps out of just I had some little bits like this, and I just got this rotary cutter. I'm a left-hander, and when I bought this cutter I realized, hang on a minute, it's only for right-handed use, which is a real pain. So I can't use it really for cutting out patterns or anything, because I just find it too awkward. And so I do want to try and get a rotary cutter that will allow someone like me, left-handed, to use it. So really I need the blade to be on this side so I can use it in my left hand, but it doesn't. So if you're a left-hander, make sure if you're buying a rotary cutter, make sure it works for a left-hander, and this particular one doesn't. I tried lots of ways to try and make it work, and it won't work, so I've got to now buy another rotary cutter, and I don't know which one. There's a few, but I haven't decided which one to get yet. So I'm just going to, I just use this one for maybe paper I could use it for, and then I thought, oh, I can use it for this. So just kind of cutting through the denim to make little tiny scraps. Little scraps. It's easier than using the scissors. Mind you, using something in my right hand like this is a bit tricky. But anyway, it puts it to use, because I didn't want to get rid of it. It cost me a bit of money. They're not cheap, rotary cutters. This one wasn't. I can't remember how much it was. Maybe $30 or $40 or something. So yeah, plus I got a new blade for it, because I thought if I tried to teach myself to use it in the right hand, I might get better at it, but I'm not. And I thought it was a blade problem. I thought maybe the blade was no good, so I bought a good quality Alpha blade to put inside, and it still didn't. It's still a struggle. So one day I'll invest in a left-handed one. Meanwhile, I can use it to make little scraps like this, and that's going to be the stuffing for inside my little star, and make it padded. So I use this thread. It's a Gutermann thread, and it's 100% cotton. So I like to use 100% cotton rather than, you can get threads that have polyester in them. The only one that I use that's got polyester in it is my overlocking thread, because I've had that for years. But now when I buy a new thread, I always buy 100% cotton. I just like it because it's natural, totally natural, and it's not a blend. So we're just going to cut off a bit of that, enough to make it double and go right around the star. Like that. So we've got fairly long, so it goes right around the star. And so we're going to match our little star together. And I'm going to start maybe at the bottom. And I'm thinking maybe I'll do a back stitch, because then it looks like it's been done by machine on the facing side. I'll show you what I mean by that. So I'm going to go in about 1/2 centimetre from the edge, or maybe a tiny bit more than 1/2 centimetre. Let's see. Yeah, that probably should be good. I'll just go back a bit. Yeah, no, I think, yeah, so I'm going to start about there. And we'll just do a back stitch. So you actually go back a stitch and then you go forward a stitch, something like that. And then the next stitch you go in that, try to go in that same hole, and then forward a stitch. And so I'm trying to make the stitches all kind of the same length. That didn't work too well, but anyway, that's okay. We'll just keep going, try to do our best. I find it hard to stitch and film at the same time and see what's getting filmed. That's really hard. Excuses. Anyway, it is tricky, I must say. So there we go. And on the back, it kind of looks like that, a bit like a chain. Doesn't look the best, I suppose, especially when I'm trying to do this on and film at the same time. So we just do it like that, and we're going to just follow 0.5 from the edge all the way around the little star. Try and make it look like it's been done by a sewing machine, sort of. It's probably a bit crooked, but anyway. So I'll keep doing that till I go right around. So I thought while I'm sewing this, I might as well just chat away to everyone that's watching. Thank you for watching, if you are watching. This is the start. It looks a bit crooked there. Anyway, I might be able to do it better now that I haven't got the camera right on me. So I've been sewing for absolute years. I can't remember when I first started sewing. I don't know. I was pretty little, and I used to do everything by hand because I was kind of scared. My mum had a sewing machine. It was a Pinnock, and I was kind of scared of using that, and I don't know whether she would have even allowed me to use it. So I just did everything by hand. And I used to make Barbie clothes, particularly. I liked making Barbie clothes, and I liked making just like little things that I needed. If I needed something, I just made it. And then it wasn't until I was in year 12 that I decided to design my own dress, and I made this lizard frill neck lizard dress out of red lame. I couldn't have picked a worse fabric. Actually, yeah, I'd done home economics, and I decided, this was before the lizard dress, just going back a bit, and we had to make a shirt, or first of all we had to make a bag, then we had to make a shirt, and I chose a really difficult fabric. to make the shirt, and I remember my teacher was really surprised with how I managed to make a really good shirt out of this really difficult fabric, although I didn't think it was that difficult, but it frayed quite easily. So I remember I had to do a French seam on it, and she was amazed at how well I'd done. So that kind of was encouraging. Anyway, so then I don't know what year that was, but then in year 12, I decided to do a frill neck lizard dress. If I can, I'll see if I can put the picture in somewhere on the screen. Of this frill neck lizard dress, and so it was red lame, so it's not a good fabric to use really. And I tried to paint the lame to put the scales on the lame, and the paint just kept coming off, and it ended up all over me. And so for ages I had all this black bits of paint all over me. Ugh, it was a nightmare. Anyway, I think I did quite well with it. I think, well, obviously I passed because I passed art. That was in art. And I dreamt of sewing as a career, and dreamt of making costumes in a sort of being in a workroom somewhere that you know, like I pictured this sort of workroom full of mannequins and hats and just amazing things. And so, you know, and a bit old worldy. It felt old worldy, and I liked the old worldy feel of being in a sewing workroom. I don't know if I'm explaining it very well. And so I went and first of all studied art and design, and I really loved that. It was fun. It was such a fun year. It was just 1 year, although I think it was a 2-year thing, but I was using it just to build up a folio so I could get into fashion. And so yeah, I got into fashion, studied fashion for 3 years, did a 3-year course, full-time course in fashion. But you didn't get to really do your own thing, and it was based on mainly, I've run out of thread, so I had to knot it off, and I have to get more thread. So next time I have to judge to get a bit more thread to go around the star. Anyway, so it was mass production, the course that I did, and I wanted to get into doing costumes. So I ended up getting into, I did an interview. I interviewed the supervisor of the Victorian State Opera, and then I asked him for a job, and yeah, he gave me the job. So it was pretty cool. And so I was working there before I even finished my course. I started working there, and I was kind of like a bit like an apprentice, but I was employed as a casual, but I was there every day. And it was so good. Yeah, the Victorian State Opera was this massive big workroom in Melbourne, and they don't have the workroom there anymore, I don't think. I believe it did go. It went up to Sydney, and then, as far as I know, it's not hasn't gone back to Victoria. But anyway, when it was in Melbourne, I worked there for 3 years as a casual, 5 days a week, and I worked with this lovely lady, and I've tried to find her and I haven't been able to find her. Her name was Judy. Ah, you were so good. And she showed me everything, and basically I had to relearn. I mean, obviously I knew how to sew, but got tears in my eyes a bit. thinking about Judy. And she, yeah, just basically had to relearn how to make garments, because when I studied fashion, I learned how to do it how it is in the industry, but then to make costumes for the Victorian State Opera, different process altogether. And it was such a good experience. And so, yeah, like I said, I was there for 3 years, and then the opera moved up to Sydney, the costume department, so everything went to Sydney. And lovely Judy, she organised for me to get a job across the road, which was at the Victorian State Opera, and she introduced me to the lovely supervisor that was there at the time. And so then I just went across the road and got a job there, and I worked there for about a year. As a casual, but there 5 days a week for a year, I think it was. But then my dad started to get sick, and I decided to move back home and spend the year with him, which is something I'd never regretted, because I mean, it was a shame that I had to leave the ballet, the Australian Ballet. Their costume department was lovely. It was really wonderful. And it was a big department. It just, lovely people to work with. And it had this big window that you could sit next to at your machine, and it kind of looked out onto another building, but it was just nice. And so it was a shame I had to leave there, but I did want to go and spend time with my dad. And yeah, it's something I didn't regret. He was suffering from Parkinson's disease. So, and he was getting worse and worse. He was in and out of hospital. And then in the end, didn't expect it, but in the end, at the end of the year, so the whole year I spent there, I went and saw him, I think almost every day, spent time with him. And then at the end of that year, just as he was moving out of his house and going into full-time care, which he decided to do himself, he passed away. And so, like I said, I never regretted spending that year back home, and because that's something you can't get back. And we spent some time together, my dad and I, and it was really nice to be able to chat and reflect and things. And yeah, I just always feel thankful for doing that. And anyway, so I worked for years, and I also worked on, so when I came back, I worked in a alterations shop, or there were several of them in Melbourne. That particular company owns several alterations shops, and one of them was in the city, and I loved working in the city one, and there was one at High Point, Northland, other shopping centres, and so I worked at those. I can't remember for how long. And I just realised I've sewn this together and I haven't allowed for stuffing, but I just wonder whether I do need stuffing. I might do the other one and see what it looks like with stuffing. Been busy chatting, because I thought I'd just have a chat, and so that you can get to know a little bit more about me. And I'm going to put a pin in that to keep it together. And so I can't remember what I was saying. So I worked in an alterations shop. That was a bit stressful, I must say. You were under the pump all the time, Whereas when I worked at the ballet and the opera, it wasn't under the pump. It was pretty easy going, really. You had to sew really perfectly and well, and that was fine for me. I don't mind that. And so the alterations thing, I can't remember how long I did that for, but maybe for about a year or a little bit more than a year. And then I decided, no, it's too stressful. Usually when I'm stressful in a job, I put up with it for a little while and then I just get out. It's just, my health is much more important than that for me. So I worked on a few other shows, including Dirty Dancing, Beauty and the Beast. I worked on Beauty and the Beast, the costumes for that. And then I worked over in the Princess Theatre and worked on the maintenance. I love doing maintenance. It's fantastic. You work while the show's going on, before the show's on, after the show's on, and you do lots of things. Like, it's very varied and I love that. You get to paint things, you get to glue things, you wash things, you iron things, you clean things. You just do a lot of variety of stuff. And it's not too stressful, at least it wasn't then. You just had to have things done in time for the show, and there was usually enough time. Some things were a bit like, ooh, you know, quick, but most of the time it was pretty easy. And during the time, then I worked on Dirty Dancing, but not on the costume. I didn't make the costumes, but I did make some in the end because I had to replace some that had needed to be replaced. But I mainly did maintenance. So I worked in the theatre, the Princess Theatre again in Melbourne, and then the whole show moved over to Perth, and I went over to Perth as well, and that was really fun. And yeah, so we did all the repairs, alterations, just whatever needed to be done, and met a lovely friend during that time as well. So she and I worked together and it was wonderful. We had a really great time together. And on our days off, I got to see around Perth, which is a beautiful city, and I'd love to go back there one day. Anyway, so I think I was there for about 3 weeks in Perth, working there full time, basically. And then I kind of wanted a break from sewing after I was working on lots of different shows and working at the alterations place, working in the wardrobe departments of different things. I wanted a break and I wanted to try a completely different career. So I started doing massage. I learnt massage. I did sports massage, and then I decided to study myotherapy, which is a three-year full-time course. And while I was doing that course, I was also treating people, I was massaging people, I was working at a couple of gyms. So I did that. And then once I'd finished my myotherapy, I continued to be a myotherapist at one of the gyms that I'd been working at and treating a lot of clients, a lot of patients. And then what happened? Well, then we pretty much, and then I went back to fashion, went back to working on shows, and then I was doing both. I was doing myotherapy and I was doing sewing. The combination of the two, because like I said, I get bored if I do the same thing, the same job, the same thing over and over and over again. I get very bored very quickly, so that's why I liked having the variety of doing both. And so I did both for a while, and then I worked also at a lovely very couture, very upmarket place called Le Louvre. It's still there. It used to be in Collins Street in Melbourne, but then it moved to Toorak, but I worked in the Collins Street store, and it was old world French style. It was wonderful, and we worked on a lot of bridal and a lot of beautiful designer garments. For appointment only clients, so it was very special, and so I worked there, and then I ended up getting married, and worked there a little bit after getting married, I think I did, and then I had my daughter. So yeah, then I was a full-time mum for years, but I did go back to the ballet and worked on a show called Coppelia while my daughter was little, and I also made some jackets and suits and things for some friends of my husband, and yeah, so I did bits and pieces, but mainly I was a full-time mum. And then we moved up here to Queensland, and for a while I was a full-time mum, and then I went and worked in a physiotherapist as my therapist, but that was a bit full on for me. I was so busy. I started off, it was quiet, but then I got so busy, I was flat out. And I just thought, oh, this is not sustainable for me. And my mum had moved up here, and she was getting worse. She's got dementia. So she was getting worse, and I was looking after her, and it was just getting a bit too much. And as much as I loved returning back to myotherapy after all those years, it was something I wanted to do. I wanted to get back to working as a myotherapist. It was one of those, I guess, bucket list things, was to get back to doing that. And so I sort of ticked that box, I guess. And then my husband, he's working in disability, and I thought, oh, it seems like fun. Seems like he's having a lot of fun. So I studied the disability course and worked in disability for 2 years, and had a lovely client, and worked at a hub in Maroochydore, but it was starting to get stressful too, and it was affecting my health, and yeah, mum was not good either. I just couldn't, it was just too much, everything. And I missed being creative. And so I left that job in October last year. And since then, I've been trying to get creative again, get back into sewing. I've always been sewing, like just bits and pieces, but I want to get into being creative and maybe producing something that becomes my own small business. I don't know. I've had loads of sewing experience, but it's a matter of finding something that people like and there's a demand for it, and also that that I can sustain creating that thing. And I like using recycled fabrics, and so I'm just kind of pottering around at the moment and trying to figure out what I really want to do. I'm pottering around with thrifted fabrics and and bits and pieces from the op shop, and just seeing how it goes and seeing what becomes popular, and also trying YouTube. I don't know why I chose to do YouTube. I think all my life I've always imagined filming myself talking about things and doing things. I used to imagine when I was a kid, this is the story of Luella. And I used to imagine what I'd be filming, and this is before there was nothing online, there was no YouTube, there was no nothing. I'm showing my age. Anyway, and so I used to imagine that, and now it exists, but it took me a while to realize, hang on, anybody can do it. I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm just picking up my phone. I use my phone, which gets full very quickly. And I just want to film stuff, creative stuff that I've experienced in my life, and maybe share it with people. And my sewing, because yeah, I missed being creative when I was in those sort of more allied health sort of careers. Just disconnected me from being creative, and so it's taken me quite a while to get back into feeling creative. I sort of just have to sit down here at my table and just come up with something, even if it starts off being something quite almost amateur. I don't know, but you kind of got to start again because you've had it sort of burnt out of you. I don't know. I feel like I've had it burnt out of me, and so I've just got to redo it. And the only way I can redo and reboot myself is to make stuff, anything, create anything, and also film myself and try to get used to getting better at it and stuff. And so if you're in the same boat, just do it. Just do it. I don't know. You just got to do it. You just got to make that first step. And once you make the first step, you go, oh, because you can't just watch people and get advice from them how to film and how to edit and how to this and that. And then it's not until you actually sit down and do it yourself that you go, oh, okay, you actually experience it and you feel it, and you see if you like it. And I like it. It's kind of fun. And so there we go. I've done the 2 stars. They look a bit homemade-ish, which maybe that's a good thing. We like a bit of homemade. And then yeah, the next thing I'm going to do is sew the star on. Sew the star. I think the star looks cute with it. Just add a little bit of something in the center. I suppose you could just have them plain like that. Maybe the homemadeness kind of makes it look cute, a bit different. What do you think? With a star or without a star? I don't know. You could go both. I don't know. Let's go with the star. You can always take the star off later. Anyway, as I was saying, yes, just film yourself, because like for me, for instance, I'd never seen myself on film before I started doing this. And as much as you sort of can cringe at yourself and go, oh, is that what people see when I talk to them? Just get over it. I don't know. Just throw yourself out there. I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm older. I sort of feel like I don't really care. Although nobody in my family knows that I'm doing this, that I'm filming. I do it when the house is empty, because it's too noisy for a start. Eventually they'll know, but at the moment it's just my little thing that I like doing, and and I'm hoping to slowly get better and better and better. And the only way I'm going to get better and better and better is to practice. So I'm going to just sew this little star on, and then I'll show you the finished product. wanted to show this little bit first, was that while I'm sewing on the star, I don't want to go right through to the back because then it's going to interfere with our little thing to let the hair clip go through, if that makes sense. So as I'm sewing, I'm kind of just trying to sew through one layer, the top layer. So if that makes sense, let me show you what I mean in a minute. So it's just through, as I'm sewing through, it's just through the one, just this top layer of one, not going right through to the back. I hope that makes sense. So yeah, it's just going in through one layer, not picking up the back. Technically, sew the star on first and then stitch the two bits together. That's another idea. So there we go, we've got our little star hair clips. And let's see. Should we do two? Oh yeah, that looks cute. Nice. Or I'm not looking my best. My spotty self. I really like the two on each, one on each side, but with my spots. Anyway, yes, so I did want to make a bag, but I think this video is probably long enough and my phone's probably going to have a heart attack if I try to fit any more in. So that'll be the next video. I'm going to design and make a denim bag, or at least try. There might be a few trials and errors and things like that. Because starting something from scratch, you're always going to have a few problems, issues, learning curves. Doesn't matter how much experience you might have. So we'll give it a go, and yeah, so stay tuned for that next video. And thanks for watching today. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you. Bye.